Hello again, YouTube. This is Johnny with your weekly aphorism. Sorry about the wait between episodes, but I'm pretty excited about this one, and I hope you all find it helpful. This aphorism goes simply: simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. And that comes to us from the famous Italian polymath, Leonardo Da Vinci, or maybe it was Claire Booth Luce, or maybe it was Leonard Thiessen, or William Gaddis, and on and on and on. So whenever I was looking this up, I found this referenced all over the place. So I think the first thing to point out is that though this phrase is often attributed to Da Vinci, there's actually no evidence at all, as far as I know, linking him to that aphorism, and many occurrences of it have popped up throughout literature and from many people. So it's pretty much impossible to say who should really get credit for it, though I will say that Da Vinci seems like the kind of person who would agree with it. Anyway, I digress. I like this aphorism a lot because it suits such a wide range of purposes and subjects, as the best aphorisms do. So some examples of this. In learning, artists are taught basic structural concepts such as shape, line, shade, color, etc. As the student acquires a deeper understanding of those tools, they're able to render more and more perfectly either what's in front of them or in their imagination. It's the simplicity of those tools for art that allows them to be combined in ways that end up being highly complex. Another example would be in mathematics. Students learn the very basics of addition, subtraction, and all that before moving up to more difficult concepts, which are in part combinations or juxtapositions of the simpler concepts. The student is allowed to solve more difficult problems over time through the simplification process that mathematics allows them, and they get the more diverse and wide range of tools that they get. The more complex problems they're able to efficiently solve, right? In the field of what you might call memory psychology, there's a concept called chunking. And the point of chunking is that our short-term memory can only hold so much information with any accuracy before it breaks down. So we have to expend time and energy dedicating the information to our long-term memory. So chunking, the point of chunking is that it's our mind's way of breaking down subjects into pieces to make them more manageable. There's actually a famous and highly cited psychology paper called The Magical Number 7, plus or minus 2, Some Limits on Our Capacity for Processing Information, by George Miller, which, as the title makes very clear, he just basically makes the case that our short-term memory can only hold about 7, give or take a couple items in our short-term memory. The idea behind chunking is to be keenly aware of this, so you want to take advantage of this chunking thing by being aware of it, right? So when you're learning a subject, there's an interesting memory tool that I've read about a couple different places, and here's how it works. What you do is you make a list of 20 items, and they can be anything that you want. Then you memorize them, perhaps maybe splitting the items into related groups of items of 4 or 5 or so, and memorizing them in chunks. Then, when you have that list of semi-arbitrary items handy, what you can do is use the list to memorize any other list of 20 or fewer items. By using the prior chunks, the bundles of items on the first list, you make an association in your mind between those and the items on your second list, and this helps you encode the information into your long-term memory more easily. And so what you're really doing there is you're consciously simplifying the way that you take in and memorize the information. This kind of thing, being aware of it, lets you be a little more efficient in your thinking, and gives you, this simplicity gives you an ability to look at a wide range of things easily. Most of these kind of cognitive tools usually involve a simplification of some kind or another. Another example, another field is software design. Simplicity is often the main benchmark for success in that, because consumers want easy-to-use, intuitive electronics. Keeping things simple allows that to happen. There was an interesting column on the Microsoft Developer Network I saw while reading about the various roles of simplicity in different fields. It's by a Scott Berkun, all the way back from 1999. But anyway, in it, he argued for an increased role for simple design, literally saying that the best user interface is no user interface. The idea behind that is that good developers should work to make the program such that it does what the user wants it to do without the user being forced to guide the program through it. And this does create more work for developers, but it increases the value of the program to the user in most cases. He says that the goal for your designs should be easy to learn, but should have a built-in path to higher proficiency. And he advises that programs should be simple to use yet customizable in case the user wants or needs to trade some power for complexity. So there's a recognized trade-off here between power and complexity. Of course, this weekly aphorisms series of videos is kind of a testament to the importance of simplicity, right, and the power of it. Because even though aphorisms are short little phrases, there's often a rich, deep, complex set of ideas that underlie them, which makes them fun for me to unpack and discuss. I could go on and on with more examples in various fields, but what I'm most interested in for this video is the role of sophisticated simplicity in living the good life. So I found a really great article while looking for how to practically go about this that I'll link in the description. But in a nutshell, the author advocates the use of 4 simple general steps in order to go about simplifying anything. First, you collect everything in one place. Second, you choose the essential. Third, you eliminate the rest. Fourth, you organize the remaining stuff neatly and nicely. The author, Leo Babwata, sorry if I butchered their name, but anyway, they give some examples of how to do this. And you can look at those in the article if you want. Like I said, I'll link it in the description. I like this 4-step solution because it's itself an example of the simple yet sophisticated, because it allows for application to a wide variety of things, almost anything. Not just like shelves or closets, but also the contents of your computer or a paper you're working on or a book, or you can apply it to any project or your life in general. And that's like your habits, what kinds of things you do repeatedly. It's useful to ask, how much are these habits really helping me, right? Or how many activities, are you just stressing yourself out? Is the amount of stuff you're doing actually getting in the way of doing things better? I think less is more is a really important thing in a lot of areas in life, because when you realize that in order to accomplish your projects, whatever they are, a certain amount of dedication and willingness to take things a bit at a time is necessary. You have to realize that, to an extent, the most important part of refining your habits is simplifying them. You have to crawl before you can walk, and walk before you can run, right? So it's important to cut out things that are damaging to yourself, bad habits, that kind of thing, wasteful habits. Because if you cut all that stuff out, it makes things simpler. And with that simplicity, you get a measure of power and security, because you're able to adjust easily to changing conditions. Or maybe it shelters you even from having to make adjustments at all by making you just impervious to them, right? So here's an example. One of the things that's been said about lying, supposedly by Mark Twain in one of his notebooks, actually, but like usual, it's hard to tell, really, is that the less you lie, the less you have to remember. So this is an interesting case here of the way that being ethical is really just easier in the long run, because it creates less trouble and discord in your life and in the lives of others. Because you don't have to keep lying to keep up appearances, right? It's the same with keeping things in your house clean and orderly in general. There's a lot of things in life that have to be done eventually, so there's no reason to put it off, because you might as well get it over with, because you're going to have to do it anyway. And it's usually easier if you just do it now. So by keeping things in a state of repair as a matter of habit, you don't have to do as much work to keep them that way. The natural way of things is to become disorderly and to decay, really. I think much of the good life consists in the keeping up of habits that reinforce order through intelligent simplification, such that the prevalence of disorder in the universe does not intrude so much on our lives. This makes us stronger and more resilient as individuals. It allows us more freedom to decide our courses of action in responsive rather than reactive ways. So anyway, that's all I've got this time. Keep your wits about you. Peace.